that's what I want to do. I want to see what's possible.
So I was recently looking back through some of my old training logs, and for those of you who don't know me that well, I've kept a training log, a written training log, for every single year since 8th grade, where I record every single run I've done, all the miles, the people who I've run with, the places that I've run, the core workouts, the lifting, the strength training, the cross training, all the things that I've done. And so I was looking back through, and there were so many weeks that were kind of cringeworthy to me, where I would make notes about trying to lose weight and notes about trying to reach that ideal race weight and that ideal goal that I had in my mind that was what was going to make me successful on that day. And I was kind of disappointed in myself. And then I started thinking, and I also have been asked this a lot, and I haven't responded very publicly about it. I've been very just personally responding to messages in regards to weight and recovering after having a baby and all of those things. And this has really gotten me thinking about how I spent a lot of years really unhappy and really weight focused on, if I'm this certain weight, then I know that I'm fit. If I'm this certain weight, then I know that I can run my goal today. And that's proven to be really untrue. And as it's gone, I've learned that it's not about the weight on the scale. It's about how I feel. It's about the fitness that I've gained, the work that I've put in, and that number is kind of arbitrary. And so I don't have all the answers, and I'm sure that if I would have done this video 10 years ago, I would have been like really upset who I am today watching it. And maybe in 10 years from now, I'm gonna be really upset about this video, but I'm gonna do my best to explain kind of where I'm at, what I've learned with the knowledge that I have and the years and the experience that I've gained. And I hope that maybe it'll help you, or maybe it can help someone that you know. So if I look back on like my college career, and I'm thinking about how focused and like restricted and on routine I was with every little tiny detail, and how I loved busy days because I would not have time to get lunch, or I wouldn't have time to take care of myself. And when I look back on that, it's so stupid and it's so frustrating, because I think I could have been even better than I was if I would have done the right things. And I fast forward that into my early pro years, where I think I would have been a lot happier as a pro if I wasn't so focused on my image. And it's really hard because, you know, our competition uniform is a bikini essentially. And I remember so often before a race, I would do my warm-up, and I would go to the bathroom and I would pee one more time before I would head to the start line. And I would lift up my shirt and I would check to make sure that my abs were there. And if they were there, I knew that I was gonna be ready to go. And it's so dumb. It was so dumb. And I can't believe I did that. But I did. And I ran really well. But it wasn't because of that. It wasn't because I lifted up my shirt and I saw my abs and I knew that I was fit and ready. It was because I put in so much work and I had been so focused and so prepared. And had I taken care of myself even more than I did, and it's not that I was horrible. It's not that I, didn't eat. It was just that I was very, very much focused on what I was doing, and I was so dialed in that I sometimes lost track of the important things in life. And so when I look at this, I think about the changes that I've made over these past few years, because I went from being very race fit and race ready to getting pregnant and spending, 9 months gaining weight constantly, which was the goal. And I was okay with it at the time. And I was very much just like, this is what my body needs. This is what my baby needs to be healthy. But it was still challenging to see my body change in a way that had never changed before. And I gained almost 60 pounds in my pregnancy, which felt really dramatic because my sisters gained like 25 to 30 pounds in their pregnancies. I had seen other runners who had only gained like 15 to 20 pounds in their pregnancies, and I gained more than that in my first trimester. And so that was really stressful because I knew I was doing the right thing for me. I knew I was doing the right thing for my baby, but it was really hard because I had never fathomed that my body could look or feel the way that it did. And I remember chafing for the first time ever on my thighs, where they were rubbing together on a easy 4-mile run, and I got back and I was in brutal pain because I had never experienced that before. And rewind to like before our honeymoon, whenever Dylan and I got married, I took a 2-week break, and I remember being so concerned about gaining weight on that 2-week break leading into our wedding. And Dylan was like, no, it'll be great. Like, it'll be awesome that you'll have more of a butt over our honeymoon. And that was like my worst nightmare, like so concerning and so upsetting to me. And I look at it now and I just kind of laugh because to me at that point, gaining, 5 pounds felt like such a nightmare. But now I'm like, oh man, like 5 pounds is nothing in compared to nearly 60 pounds that I gained in my pregnancy. And if I think about my pregnancy, it's like I have a healthy, awesome little guy, and that's really what mattered to me. I had a really great, overall, a really great pregnancy and a good delivery. And, there was nothing ever terrible or dramatic or stressful about it, other than I just didn't feel like me and I didn't feel like myself. And that's hard, of course, especially when this is like my body is kind of my job, it's my career. And so that has been a little bit stressful. But kind of on this other end, I heard all the things about how breastfeeding helps you lose weight after you have your baby, and it'll take about 6 months, but after 6 months, like things really start to click and you'll come right back. And I'd heard so many things, and ultimately it comes down to everyone's so different, and everyone's journey is different, and everyone's body is different, and what your body needs and what your baby needs is going to be different. And so that was something that was really hard for me because I have friends who got back to racing within that first 6 months. I've had clients who I coach who have got back to racing that quickly, and it just wasn't in the cards for me. But I've also heard so many amazing stories from friends and clients and people who have contacted me over Instagram and over social media who have said, thank you so much for sharing your story, because I was feeling alone and you helped me realize that I'm not alone. And that's what it's really about, is that we're not alone in any of this, no matter what your feelings are in terms of your weight, in terms of your fitness, in terms of where you want to be or how long it's going to take to get there. There's not an easy answer, but it is an answer in that it can happen and it will happen. You just have to be patient, and it's mostly about just consistency, having the right attitude, having the right mindset. And I'm so proud of myself because while I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna see that pre-baby race weight that I used to have, I am so excited to push myself, to train, to be motivated, and to get back to running PRs and running as fast as I ever have before. And it doesn't matter the weight on the scale, because honestly, I used to weigh myself every single week, and that used to determine my mood for the week. It used to determine how I was feeling with my training, whether or not I was fit enough to race, whether or not I was ready to chase my goals. But now I know that doesn't really matter. And there's been so many, recent videos and recent articles. The one that's been very profound to me was Mary Kane's video last fall about her struggles with weight and the terrible things that she was told, and the very untrue things that she was told, and how that's not at all what it's about. And so for me, this has kind of been hard to talk about, and it wasn't something that I was like really amped to come in here and discuss. But I think it's so important because I've read, and I don't know if this is still true, but literally it's like figure skating and gymnastics are like very prominent eating disorder sports, but distance running is second behind that. And while I don't feel like I ever was diagnosed with an eating disorder, I did have restricted eating, and I thought to make it to the next level, to become the best that I could be, to see the performance that I wanted to see, I had to restrict, because that control is what would get me to where I wanted to be. And I have been so careful and so cautious when I've been coming back from my pregnancy and gaining 60 pounds to realize that it is much more important to stay healthy, to stay consistent with training, to enjoy what you're doing, to feel strong, to feel motivated, to feel inspired, and all of those things kind of come together to form that fitness and to form that ability to be able to chase those goals that you have. And so I'm not at all a therapist. I'm not at all a nutritionist. I can't help you in any of those ways. But I highly recommend that you seek guidance and that you seek out the professional help that can get you to having a healthy mindset, because it is so important and it has been so freeing, and it has made running and training and exercise and life so much better for me. So like I said, this is all just my experience. I don't have all the right answers. I don't know if I'll feel the same way in 10 years from now, or if I'll have to do a whole nother video, but I hope that maybe you can gain something from this, and something can spark inside of you that can help you be excited about achieving your goals and feeling healthy and strong along the way. So thank you for joining me. I know this is a weird subject. It's not applicable to everyone, but I really appreciate being able to share this with you and having this platform to talk about so many different things related to this sport that is so important to me. So please give me a follow on Instagram at Neely S. Gracie, and subscribe and comment if you feel so led on my YouTube channel, because I love to hear what you want me to talk about. And this is something that I had kind of been pushed into, and I had multiple people reach out and ask if I could share my experience with this topic, and I hope that this is something that I can be pushed out of my comfort zone again in the future, because I want to hear what you want me to talk about and what can best help you in your journey as you reach for your goals. So let's get after it. Today, I helped my husband out in the yard where I was wearing my bikini while I was helping him because I was trying to suntan because I'm finally running enough to have a horrible shorts tan. So I was really proud of that because I honestly didn't even think about it until he made a comment like, really, you're gonna help me in the front yard in your bikini? And I was like, don't make me uncomfortable. Yes, I am. And I was so proud of myself. And so here's to doing hard things. Here's to being confident in you because that's what's gonna make us all better. All right, I'll talk to you next week. Take care.